Good evening.
It's the history of the Tottenham.
I'm sorry it didn't cost 55 million, so it cannot be good.
I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Some of the passing is fucking scratchy.
We are in Champions League, man. Dilly din, dilly dong. Come on.
Sit down. Nobody talk. Sit down.
He's 24 years old. For me, if he's not got it now, when is he going to get it?
And I won more premierships alone than the other 19 managers together.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Armchair Managers podcast, where we cover all things Premier League, Champions League, and transfers in and around the football world from fans giving their global perspective from various different countries. Today, joining myself, Z and Siba, are two guests. One who you've already listened to prior, our resident Sevilla fan, Jeed. You can find Jeed on social media, on Instagram at Jeed90, as well as Twitter at Jeed Says. Joining Jeed is my dear childhood best friend and a fellow Man United fan, as well as a follower of Celtic in Glasgow, Scotland, Ray, who you can also find on Twitter and Instagram. Both those handles will be at N_Ray_. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Pretty good, man.
It's been a very eventful week of European action to conclude the 2019-20 season. Let's start off with the Europa League final. Looks like the podcast curse continued, and a lot of people who backed Inter Milan to come out as the top team didn't get what they expected. Jeed, your thoughts on that historic final for Sevilla?
Honestly, I think a lot of people were sleeping on Sevilla. They didn't realize that La Liga is not as easy as it seems. And I was pretty confident going into the game. I knew Inter was going to be a big challenge, but I didn't think that we were outclassed before going into the game. And definitely the way we played, I feel we deserved it 100%. Throughout the season, we've been fantastic, especially the last 21 games. And I'm actually looking forward to meeting and beating, hopefully, Bayern in the Super Cup.
That's going to be an exciting Super Cup tie, definitely. Did you feel at any point that the match was perhaps slipping out of Sevilla's hand? I know with the early penalty, once again, similarly to the game against Man United, you guys conceded a penalty early in the game, which Lukaku put away expertly. Did you feel there was a chance that this might not be your day? I know it must have been a tense final for you.
Yeah, I mean, look, I was sweating bullets the whole game. I mean, up until the last second of the match, I was just sweating, nervous, and worried about any moment just going wrong. Look, Diego Carlos, as much as I love him, this season he played amazingly, but the last 3 games gave away 3 penalties, and it's just the lack of experience. That Lukaku penalty shouldn't have been a penalty. He should have brought him down way before he got into the box. He had no business letting him go that far in. But was I worried that we weren't able to come back? Not really. I knew that we had the attacking capability to score once, twice, 3 times. But definitely it put me on edge when we conceded a penalty in the first few minutes. Mm-hmm. Once we scored the second goal, not to say that I knew we'd win. I obviously didn't know anything, but I was a little bit more comfortable in how the team was controlling the match.
Yeah, no, I think I especially was quite confident that Sevilla would keep the ball rather well, and Inter would kind of go about being destructive in the midfield and sitting back and countering with the pace and the forwards they have, and like the power of Romelu Lukaku as well as the creativity of Martinez. But did you at any point feel that it was questionable with the selection of Luke de Jong starting from the very beginning? I know he scored the crucial goal against United in the semi-final, but did you have any question marks over the selection of him from the very beginning, or was that expected?
No, 100%. That actually was my biggest surprise before the match started, and I saw Luke de Jong up front. I'm like, well, either this is going to be a genius move, or it's going to prove that we're we're just incapable of the finishing again. Like Luke De Jong has only scored, I think, 8 goals in all competitions this season, and that for a striker, that is definitely not a good number that you want to hold up. But honestly, of those 8 goals, you can look back at where he scored them and when he scored them. You're looking at Inter twice, Manchester United, Real Madrid twice. Like he's only scored in these important big games. So I was worried that he was replacing Al-Masiri up front, but honestly, once he scored the first goal, I just stopped caring. I was like, you know what, this team can do it. We can go all the way.
Because
Fascinating sorry, just to cut in. It's fascinating as an outsider watching Sevilla play, and then I looked it up, and like he has a habit of coming into form, Luke De Jong, at critical times in seasons, doesn't he? And it happened again this season.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I didn't know much of him before coming to Sevilla. I'd never watched any. I think he played for FC20 or PSV, and I've never really watched the Dutch league. I know he played for Newcastle before. It was Newcastle or Southampton.
He made 12 appearances and scored no goals for Newcastle.
Yeah, so
an outstanding stat. I'm sure you'll agree.
No, I mean, there's actually a joke of what we call him. There's an Arab Sevilla group, and we call him the Dutch giraffe because he's tall, but he doesn't do much. So we were really worried that he just like from the beginning of the season he was missing like golden opportunities, but all of a sudden in the last few games and in the important matches, he was just showing up and scoring and controlling the game and just putting on amazing displays of football.
An apology going out to any giraffes that may be listening. No offense meant.
Yes, we're always inclusive, even to footballing giraffes on the podcast. Jeed, one more thing. The 2 goals he scored, it's similar to the positioning that, he kind of started picking up in relation to his awareness of space, especially with the crucial goal against United, where he kind of slipped and drifted between the center halves with like very slight diagonal movements. It looks very simple. It looks obvious, but he seems to make it look easy, and it's not really as easy as he makes it seem. Do you think that is a big contributing factor as to why he gets these crucial goals when it does matter?
100%. I mean, look, Lopetegui has really mastered the whole team, and he's been able to kind of instill confidence in these players. And if you look at the 2 goals with the set pieces that we've gotten, they were just amazing strategy and just going in, really hitting that right spot. Banega making those amazing assists, and Luke De Jong finding the space. I mean, that wasn't his strength coming into the team, but
right.
he's found it in the last few games, and hopefully next season he can continue with those awesome plays and that nice movement.
Which is so interesting to see in both the Inter side as well as the Sevilla side. You've got former players from in and around the Premier League and other leagues across Europe who are just almost kind of reborn and kind of reimagining their careers at these new clubs and doing so whilst also earning themselves places in finals, and like Sevilla did, getting a final, winning the final. And I thought it was a touch of class, the way you guys dedicated the win to your late great players, and of course José Antonio Reyes. And who was the other player, G?
It was Antonio Puerta. He was one of our great right backs back in 2007. He actually passed away while playing a match, and
right, yes.
a big part of the Sevilla culture is on the 16th minute. We all clap for 1 whole minute, and it's like a big part of the Sevilla culture. So definitely, when we looked at Navas and Banega, the 2, number 16 and number 10, they kind of embodied that, and even the positions they played. Banega also plays where Reyes generally played, and Navas plays where Puerta played. So we took that as this, kind of winning in their honor.
That's beautiful. I love that. That just reminds you how it's so much more than just a game, and it's just such an honorable way to kind of celebrate that final victory. And a record sixth time. You guys can do that whole Scouse song of talking about six, baby.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the first thing I thought of after that. I felt like Jurgen Klopp at this point.
Scouse, and now, of course, Bayern as well.
Yeah, of course, Bayern as well with the record sixth European trophy. Speaking of which, let's stay focused a little bit on Inter, because Rashik, I know you wanted to kind of mention the fact that, of course, there are several former Premier League players, of which 3 played for Man United not too long ago. What did you make of the performances of Ashley Young, Alexis Sanchez briefly, as well as your main man, Romelu Lukaku?
I think it's slightly painful because watching Ashley Young, you're reminded of like kind of his highlights reel at Man United, really. He has played, I think, over the last few weeks, particularly with just such consistency, and he's really become like a core member of the team.
Mm-hmm.
Which, if Zahran, you'll remember with his armband on, he did every now and again for United as well. But I thought he had sparks in the final, but I thought Sevilla handled him quite well, kept him out of the game.
Yeah.
Alexis Sanchez was hilarious as always. Came in, just ran lots. Didn't really do much else. He got into positions and then just, I don't know what it is. Usually when you have players with such a low center of gravity, kind of a weight and a shifty and paciness to them, they can stay on the ball. He just can't. I don't know what's happened to him since. I assume it's just he's not really in form as he was once. And then of course, big man Rom. Rom comes in with the fantastic, honorable, iconic tribute to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in 1999 with his last minute. Well, not as last minute, I suppose, not literally last minute, but end of the game winner, which was incredible. Yeah. I was like, what a tribute to one of the greatest goals in European history.
Yeah, you have to say the
unfortunately
third goal,
it was at the wrong end, but
yeah. He actually became the first player in European football history to score for both sides in a final.
That's insane.
And what a thing to be remembered for.
It's a shame because he's had a remarkable season. In fairness to him, I think he equaled Ronaldo's all-time Brazilian Ronaldo, his all-time record at Inter for 34 goals in his debut season. Sib, what do you make of that? His goal record as well as his performance in the final on both ends of the pitch.
Lukaku?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't watch that game. I didn't, honestly. I didn't have time, but I did. I watched the highlights. I saw the goal you're talking about. And I mean, it's Lukaku-esque. That's all I'm going to call it, really. It's probably enough for Conte to now reconsider his tenure at Inter Milan and be looking at jobs elsewhere. So I think that sums it up pretty well.
That is a cynical take if I've ever heard one.
No, I mean, but he's not wrong, because Conte was quoted as saying he's not entirely certain if he's going to remain at Inter Milan next season.
We killed his confidence.
What you say to get a better contract, though.
Jeed just said we killed Conte. Jeed, I don't know if how intently the coverage you were watching was focused in on stuff happening off the pitch, but did you catch the exchange of words between Ever Banega and Antonio Conte?
Of course I did. It's Banega. Banega always does this.
Such a shit house. It's so typical of the Argentine players, isn't it?
100%, and especially Banega. Banega grew up in a ghetto, and he had a life of crime before coming to Sevilla or before coming to Valencia earlier.
Yeah.
And he's that kind of guy, and he came in. I knew if there was going to be any kind of brawl in the match, it would be Banega who caused it.
I had a friend who speaks both Italian and Spanish, who said, based on his dodgy lip reading, what Ever Banega basically was saying to Conte was, "Why don't you come closer so I can see how real that wig is?"
Yeah, the Spanish media just covered that, and they were, it's just typical Banega. Something that we'll miss a lot. I mean, I don't think he's going to be doing that in Saudi a lot, but
Yeah.
Is he going to
You gotta love him.
Al-Shabaab? Is that?
Yeah, he's joining Al-Shabaab. I mean,
Okay.
his last game was on Friday with Sevilla, and starting next season he'll be with Al-Shabaab.
How old is he at the moment, Jeed? Banega?
He's 33 years old, so he's not, he's not at the end of his career. I definitely would have given him another couple of years at Sevilla, if not 3 years. But I mean, money comes, and Saudi comes knocking on your door.
I remember Emery wanted him at Arsenal.
Yeah, who didn't Emery want at Arsenal?
Man, I'm just saying, if Saudi comes knocking at my door, I'm running.
Unfortunately, Newcastle would do very much the opposite. Commiserations to any Geordies listening. So yeah, it was definitely a final full of incident, which obviously Siba has been quiet on because he didn't watch the game. Far too busy to watch the Europa League final. That
Siba,
Arsenal
what
have
kind
only
of
been
football fan do you call yourself?
I saw enough in the highlights. Okay.
Typical Arsenal fan.
Yeah, typical Arsenal fan. They do all their football watching on YouTube.
Listen, man, I'm just happy that like this season has finally come to an end tonight with the Champions League final. Which let's jump into, by the way. So PSG playing Bayern Munich, 1-0 to Bayern. Their 6th Champions League. What did you guys make of the game?
To be honest, PSG were shit. I can just say that. First half they played well, but second half this was not a Champions League team, honestly. Like
I mean, they started well in the first half, I'd say. Like, they created many chances, but, I mean, I have to agree with you that PSG deserved to lose this final. They were so wasteful. Man. They were so wasteful in that final third. Like, Mbappe's missed 2 clear-cut chances. Di Maria, Neymar, like, Moting, when he came on. You've had enough chances to, put the game away or at least get back into the game. And just completely wasteful shots directly at Neuer, and he's going to grab it easily, And Kingsley Coman, who's been, had a quiet season, who is actually, I think, considering retiring because of his injury woes over his time at Bayern, scores his 8th goal this season, which is the winner.
Against his former club.
Yeah.
Which I believe is the first time that's ever happened in a European final.
Really? A player scoring against his former club?
Yeah, I think so. Let me... Yeah, in a European Cup final. First ever.
And also the crucial telling goal that decided the fate of the final ultimately as well. Exactly. I thought, yeah.
Take, by the way, what a take!
Yeah, I mean the ball in from Kimmich as well was brilliant. I thought it was just so perfectly measured and into the perfect area, and that's not something we're seeing for the first time from this Bayern team. I think they're just such a well-oiled machine, as I've said before, and they executed their plan wonderfully. And they didn't really ever look under too much pressure, did they?
They never seemed truly tested, particularly in the second half, I would say.
I'd say Davies was getting tested a bit. I mean, his inexperience kind of showed.
No, that was just a battle of nutmegs.
Yeah, yeah. But he got skinned quite a few times.
Yeah, but he's getting skinned, but then he's making up the ground and, nothing's getting past him, right? So I think all in all, like, pride aside, I think he did his job quite well for a 19-year-old Canadian.
Yeah.
First Canadian to win a Champions League.
Funny thing I just read about after the game was apparently Barcelona now have to pay Liverpool $5 million.
$5 million.
Coutinho won the Champions League, which is a clause in his contract.
Yes.
Mate, he didn't just win the Champions League, he won the treble.
Yeah, and we were talking about their manager, Flick, as well, right? So he was, I think, Z, you mentioned he was assistant manager at the German national team before.
Yeah, he was.
Joachim Löw. And he's taken over from Niko Kovac in a season where Bayern looked really, really to be struggling, losing 5-1 to Frankfurt at one point. And as you've said, they've gone to win the treble. Like, what a fantastic job he's done.
It's a massive turnaround for someone who hasn't had, the most illustrious managerial career. He has been an assistant at the German national team. Well, was an assistant at the German national team from I think 2006 to 2014 before he just performed various other coaching jobs, and then got this Bayern job in 2019. So yeah, just midway almost through this season. And I mean, it's the Bundesliga, and Bayern, with the squad they have and the dominance they have on and off the pitch in Germany, they're expected to kind of have the formalities similar to Juventus in recent years of winning their league title. But the fact that they went from a 5-1 defeat, sacking a manager, bringing in Flick, to then go on to win the treble, during which they also beat Barcelona 8-2 in one single leg, quite exceptional. I think they're definitely, without a doubt, the best team in Europe at the moment, if not the world.
Well, and they won every single Champions League match, like from the
11
group stage
and
till
0.
the final. Like, what is that?
Yeah, it's a FM20 hack or FIFA hack.
11 and 0. And it's astonishing. Like you said, he joined just halfway through this season. 21 games. 21 games to go from fourth in their league and a 5-1 loss to champions of absolutely everything.
Yeah.
It's unheard of. Like it. I think we were talking earlier just on the chat room, and I was joking that, just to be a sort of antagonist, I was going to say that PSG, they're going to win it, but this team isn't up for losing right now. The squad they have the depth there. Also, like, players that are leaving this season, some players. I mean, Thiago is said to be leaving at the end of the season, so we'll see what happens with regards to other players coming in or whatnot. But to turn it around in 21 games, go 11 and 0 in the Champions League, not just any tournament, and to win it in the style that they have comfortably without really breaking too much of a sweat, I would say, it's just so impressive. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with that next year.
I think it kind of ties into the point that we made in our previous episode with Jeed in relation to the foundation of a football club as an establishment, as a kind of working business model. And I think Bayern are a club that have really always kind of strived to get the model off the pitch so well sorted that things take care of themselves on the pitch. And because ultimately you can't really succeed as a football club unless you play good football and you win things. And it's interesting to see, like, their transfer policy, their recruitment, as well as the way that they kind of go about playing their brand of football, and the whole kind of branding of Mia San Mia, which is Bavarian for "this is who we are." And interestingly, prior to us starting this podcast, they actually posted on Instagram Mia San Champions, and just kind of celebrating this, second, I believe it's their second ever treble, the first being under Jupp Heynckes. It's brilliant. Hats off to them. But one thing I will want to highlight, towards the latter stages of the first half, there was a big shout for a penalty. Did you guys know the one I'm talking about, of course?
The one that was like clear cut.
Yes, the one where he was being pulled back on his shoulder whilst cutting across the man into the box. Yeah, it was Kingsley Coman.
I don't know if it was a pen, to be honest, because like he's taking a sharp turn, and you could see him already stumbling over, because when you're going at that fast and you're trying to like stop the ball and like turn it at that kind of angle, he was already tumbling over. So there was a touch, but for me it's too soft. I mean, a more clear-cut pen, I would say, maybe is the one on Mbappe in the second half.
Yeah.
Late.
The Mbappe one was a definite penalty. I don't know why they didn't review that.
I think the ruling for the Mbappe one is, firstly, it wasn't a clear goal scoring opportunity and he was facing away from the goal, and secondly, they didn't believe he had full control of the ball to warrant that it was a foul that would guarantee a penalty.
Yeah, but it wasn't even checked. I mean, I saw the ref like literally squat down and like watch that incident happen. Like, he had a very good view of that. But it should have at least been checked, I think, right?
I think what happened was he saw the toe of the tackling player poke the ball out of the way, but in the path to hitting the ball, his foot struck the back of Mbappe's ankle, which is the foul.
he doesn't actually make. If you watch the slow-mo replay they showed, he doesn't make any contact with the ball. It's actually Mbappe's foot that makes the contact.
Is it Mbappe? Interesting.
Yeah,
That is significant.
Exactly, but if you take it back to the Coman penalty, the Coman penalty shot in the first half. The thing that I sort of noted about that one is that the tackle is made, or the contact rather, is made with the defensive player's standing foot. So there's no way that he has control over his standing foot because it's planted. His body weight is on it.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought that it couldn't have been a penalty, because Kingsley Coman basically falls over the standing foot of the opposition player, and that is very antithetical to what happened in the second half with
different shouts.
Nothing happening. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and what did you have to say about that, Jeed? You were trying to make a point earlier.
For me, they were both penalties. Just looking at them, when the Bayern one came on, I said that I'm surprised I didn't even review that. And definitely the kick on Mbappe seemed like a penalty to me. I mean, it was very similar to the Koulibaly Messi penalty.
Definitely. But the only thing about the first one that wasn't given, I think if that occurs anywhere else on the pitch, it's probably going to be given as a foul, is it not?
I mean, tonight, everything was given as a foul.
What do you reckon, Jeed?
Yeah, no, 100%. That would be a foul, and for me, that was a penalty. It looked like a clear penalty to me.
And it could have changed the game entirely. If Paris conceded earlier, they could have maybe come out of the blocks earlier, or if Paris even get their penalty.
The way PSG were shooting at goal, it could have been saved.
The best performance is probably Neymar's tears after the full-time whistle.
Honestly, he should leave, I think.
Where would he go? I mean, the way the market is looking, the prices and everything else, and even his record transfer for around about 222 million from Barcelona, it's very unlikely that any club will match those wages, let alone pay out his contract. And I don't see anyone doing it. I don't think Barcelona are in a position as well.
No, because they sacked Eric Abidal, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they have no one to do that kind of negotiation with now. So,
I'm going to go ahead and say it. Neymar is overrated, honestly. I think he is one of the most overrated footballers right now.
Brazilian Jack Grealish.
I'm not going to say he's bad. He's not bad, but Neymar is definitely overrated. I mean, almost every single one of his passes today were just, I could have made better passes than those. He was terrible.
But would you have made those passes against Bayern Munich?
Honestly, Bayern Munich's defense was very vulnerable. And you could tell, they look at the mistakes they made out back. If that was, any kind of, if that was even Barca, as they are now, if they made those kind of mistakes and Barca had a decent defense, I think they would have scored these chances. But I mean,
no.
Was it Alaba that just passed it to Mbappe in the first half at the edge of the box?
Yeah, he gave it away cheaply a couple of times.
He just literally passed it. Imagine that was Messi there. That's a goal.
100%.
The thing is though, this Bayern side, they didn't really change their tactical setup and they left a lot of space in behind. But what kept bailing them out was maybe the pace, awareness, and technical ability of their fullbacks. But the main contributing factor, I have to say, is Manuel Neuer. What a goalkeeper. Because you can only play with that much of a high line when you have a goalkeeper who is as confident coming off his line, closing down angles and spaces, and spreading himself as big as Manuel Neuer did tonight. And his experience now at the age of 33 really shined and showed for Bayern Munich. What did you guys make of his goalkeeping performance?
Fantastic, honestly. He looked huge. Couldn't see the goal.
He is massive, yeah.
There was one point where there was a brilliant crossfield pass, and you're thinking, oh my God, Mbappe's onto it. And 40 yards out from goal, Manuel Neuer's there, and he just picks it up.
Yeah.
It's classic Neuer. It was a classic Neuer performance.
Yeah, that's a good shout. And unfortunately, there won't be a Ballon d'Or ceremony this season, but I think Robert Lewandowski, despite not scoring in the final, amassed a tally of 14 goals in the Champions League. Many people kind of shouting for it to be reinstated and the Ballon d'Or be held for this season, and probably tipping Lewandowski to be the winner.
I don't see how anyone else could take it. I mean, if it was going on this year, I don't see any player who has been as consistent, as fiery in front of goal as Lewandowski. To be honest,
gents, your thoughts? Should the Ballon d'Or probably be reinstated and held for this season?
I mean, if we can have live matches on TV, if we can have press conferences over Zoom, like, I don't see why not. We can still dress up, We'll have Messi and Ronaldo in their like maroon and navy blazers. Yeah, why not, man?
Just have a big screen on the back with a bunch of Arabs on it, right? Just in their tobes.
Yeah, let's host our own Ballon d'Or next episode. How about
that? Brilliant conclusion to the 2019-20 season, with Sevilla as Europa League champions and Bayern Munich winning the treble as well as their 6th record Champions League triumph. Moving on, I think, Siba, you wanted to give us a little breakdown on what's going on the transfer front.
Speaking of this game, or this final, so a couple players on the pitch tonight are playing their last game, or played their last game for their respective teams. Most notably, Thiago at Bayern has been linked with a move to Liverpool, whereas another Thiago, Silva, from PSG is being tipped to move to Chelsea. See what I did there?
Very nice.
You clever boy.
I had to. Yeah, I mean, both, like, I'd say, yes, Silva is on the wrong side of 30, but still showing that he is well experienced and could prove a good tutor to any of the young center backs at Chelsea. Maybe Tomori or something.
What, for the GCSEs or
A levels, mate?
No, I think with Thiago Silva at 35, we all know what he can do, the experience he brings, the kind of leadership, how he commands his space and his fellow defenders, his line. But he definitely would need a pacey, energetic, and equally technically skilled partner in order to shine, I think, in the Premier League. It's a whole different challenge to anything he would face domestically in France, I feel.
Very much a tale of two Thiagos tonight, huh, boys? Am I right?
Silva's on a free, right? And Alcantara is being quoted at, I think, 27 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Deal.
I'm hearing that might not happen. That Liverpool are no longer interested, but I don't know where I read that.
I heard he's been into Arsenal as well, but I doubt that as well.
Yeah. Arsenal.
Yeah, it's always funny when we look to the players and we get them in the end, huh?
What, like Gabriel?
Apparently that is done, actually. Nice segue, by the way. Apparently it's been confirmed, Fabrizio Romano with Here We Go. Gabriel should be announced on Monday. Why? What's so funny?
No, I'm happy for you. You need the centre half for sure.
Okay, let's be honest, right? So, like, all the clubs have been linked to them, mainly like United and Arsenal.
We came in late with our bid, but it's been Arsenal and Napoli, I think, most of the way.
I mean, the point I want to make is, like, all these fans hyping him up, I don't think they've actually seen him play or like know if he's actually that good. Because I've heard like he's very raw in terms of potential and talent. Like, he definitely would need a experienced center back next to him. So, I mean, I know Arsenal fans this next season or this coming season are expecting like young Saliba at 19 years old to start next to a Gabriel, but it's more probable that Arteta will play Luiz with either side of them if they're playing in a 4 at the back. If it were a 3, then yes, you could expect to see Luiz, Gabriel, and Saliba.
Right. Granted, they all stay fit.
Yeah, that's also another thing. Trying to get business done early. What more can I say?
Arteta's just trying to make a Brazilian tribute band at Arsenal, isn't he?
There is a Brazilian core seeming to shape up. We've got 2 Gabriels now, Martinelli included. Luiz.
Did they get numbered?
Yeah, Gabby 1,
Gabriel 1, and Gabriel 2.
but no Gabby goal.
I guess there'll be a Gabriel and Gabby. I guess that's what I'd go with. But
yeah, it's nice. It's nice to see, the experience of Willian coming in and the raw kind of ball playing and rough and tough centre half play of Gabriel. I think they're definitely good signings, and it's perhaps a sign of more things to come for Arteta's reign at Arsenal. Because, despite, like we mentioned much earlier on the podcast, despite only being in the job for around about 7 months, going through what he has done personally on and off the pitch, he's done rather well, winning the FA Cup, and it will be interesting to see what kind of transfer business they can conclude elsewhere. The story that's on all of Britain's screens and front and back pages, as well as the banter memes of the footballing community. A Manchester United captain, the Manchester United captain and centre half, record £80 million, most expensive defender in British transfer history. I think in world transfer history. Harry Maguire arrested in Mykonos, Greece. Ray, as the other United fan on the pod tonight, I'd love to hear your insight on this.
It's just a mad one, isn't it? It's like what, a week since he went on holiday, and he's just. I mean, as United fans, I'm sure Z, both you and I have been following this closely from the inception of the story to the way it's developed over the last few days, and now it's looking like it's being spun into like this whole other thing. Oh God, I just don't know. It sounds like obviously a bunch of lads were having a go at him, and he didn't do anything. But then someone hit his sister with a quote unquote sharp object.
Mm-hmm. I heard she was stabbed.
Yeah, so they say she got stabbed, but like not. But they don't say what with. So it wasn't with a knife, clearly, and it likely wasn't a bottle either. But I don't know. Her sister's not in hospital or anything, and he's in jail. So I don't know. But yeah, the funny part of the story is that he didn't actually hit anyone. It's just it took like 5 or 6 policemen to restrain him, and they couldn't. And that's the battery charge.
The battery charge was later on when they got to the jail. That's when they resisted again, and he did hit a couple of police officers.
It's funny how it takes that many police officers to contain him when it just takes, one pass from Ocampos to get past him.
Oh, shots fired, Jeed. I love it. I'm digging.
Jeed. See, the difference is he could see the policeman, whereas he definitely couldn't see any defensive passes.
No, yeah, the memes have absolutely been hilarious, but I think on a more serious matter, it was definitely a case of him holidaying in a place where he probably shouldn't have. As a footballer, you have all the access, all the money, and all the kind of means to travel and relax and unwind and kind of recharge anywhere in the world, especially at the level that he is now playing at. Perhaps there was a little bit of a Leicester player finding himself in a Man United situation that he couldn't quite control himself in.
I've heard different rumors, like about the bribery, about beating up the cops and stuff. But I've also heard that the Greek media, or at least like, there's not really any court media. Like they don't really report on these kind of court cases.
Right.
And I think as a result, what we're seeing is just British tabloids putting any spin on it they can.
Yeah.
And that's why you're hearing a lot of conflicting like rumors or ideas. Like we don't know what he's been charged with himself, because he was with a group of people, some who might have actually committed the charges that are rumored to be against him, So you guys have to wait and see what happens, but I hope he gets out for your sake.
He's already out, actually. He's been in England since yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so he's back.
He's been back. He spent a second night in Sionos, in another jail there, and then his entourage and his attorney, and I believe a couple of representatives from the club went over, and then they flew him and his girlfriend and sister back to England. But he will have to appear before court again. The first day in court, he pled completely innocent. He was not guilty, and so they're gonna have another further hearing as they investigate. But it looks like Man United will probably be backing him up through the process. And I mean, it's not the first time we've had a Manchester United captain arrested. I don't know if you remember, Rashik, in 1999 when Kino was arrested for kicking a girl in a pub.
Wonderful. Just a wonderful time in the history of the club. I'm sure you'll agree.
Oh yeah, treble winners.
Yeah, treble winners, and of course, famously, the Cantona incident.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I keep that
Yeah.
Why wasn't Carragher arrested, man, for spitting at that girl?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
That was dumb though, man. That was so recent. That was what, last year?
No, yeah, it was. It's so quickly forgotten. Now he's a pundit on CBS Sports in the United States.
Bloody hell. I mean, he was a Sky Sports pundit then.
He's back at Sky Sports. He's still at Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't basically there were no repercussions for him spitting at a person.
Except for the reprimanding.
Yeah, Sky had one of their female anchors just literally rip into him for 10 minutes on live TV.
That was great. I enjoyed that.
That was back when Liverpool. That was the best Liverpool performance you'd see prior to Jurgen Klopp's revolution taking place. But things that I've heard regarding the Maguire incident were it was a group of British football fans who were opposition fans. So they were basically mocking him, singing songs about the Munich air disaster, called him and United shit. They started harassing a few girls, and when it became personal, a lot more personal than the regular kind of banter and rollickings you get as a footballer, when they targeted his sister, that was when he stepped in. Things escalated, and him and a couple of his mates got physical, and plainclothed police officers were there who then intervened. And as they were trying to apprehend him, they had no idea that they were police officers, and Maguire was literally swinging, and it took about, like you mentioned, 5 police officers to bring him down. And then once they apprehended them, took them to jail, and further action ensued, and that was when things calmed down and the news broke out. But a lot of eyewitness reports are saying that Maguire was just going about his holidays, and the abuse escalated, and it was very late. It was well after midnight when it all happened.
Jeed did have a point about his defensive play and his bar play. Maybe we should fill him up with Jaeger bombs before games. Maybe that'll help.
It'll just be interesting to see, he gets to keep his captaincy and how Solskjaer responds to it, because the club have just made a very kind of professional and respectful address to the whole incident. So yeah, like Siba mentioned earlier, we'll just have to wait and see how it all unfolds.
Hey, if he comes back and plays like Roy Keane, I'm in.
There's only one Kino. Siba, you've gone awfully quiet. No David Luiz in the news.
No, I've heard enough, man. I'm sick of this story already. Let's move on.
I don't know if this story broke outside of Scotland, but one of the players from Celtic Football Club, he so he basically felt like he was missing his family in the Canary Islands, and he literally left, flew to the Canaries, and then came back later that same day, unbeknownst to the club and to the immigration officers. And so then he played a game that weekend, having not quarantined. So that's the state of affairs in the UK right now. So who knows what's happening?
Yeah, I don't know how they're doing transfers either, because there's not much time in the window to have these 2-week quarantines when players are moving clubs, especially internationally.
I think the pro players can get tested though, can't they?
I mean, aren't they regularly tested anyway? So I imagine there's some kind of loophole, or they're applying for some kind of exception to the rule.
Mm-hmm. I think, I assume they're not getting tested through the NHS. They get tested privately, so they can do whatever they want, really. I mean, we also had 7 players from the Aberdeen squad go on a pub crawl, and then the entire squad then got COVID.
Fucking hell!
Oh my god!
So the Scottish Premier League is basically kind of just messed up as a result of all of that.
I mean, it was messed up before the pandemic, yeah.
Exactly. And there's all this drama with I don't know if you guys are familiar with obviously the two big rivals in Scotland are Rangers and Celtic. And Rangers' kit sponsor this year are a tennis brand called Castor. I think maybe Jamie Murray or Andy Murray's tennis brand, and they have no connection to football whatsoever. So the kits they've designed are like poorly sourced. The quality is off. Some of the sweaters that they're selling for like premium prices are actually £5-10 like school sweaters. So they have the children's name tag on them and stuff.
What?
Wow.
It is just a farce.
Oh my God.
It's so bad. Yeah, so everything is kind of just trash over
Yeah.
here.
When you think things are bad at your top 6 football club in the Premier League, just it could be worse.
It could be worse.
But yeah, it's been a great conversation. Lovely as always chatting with you guys about football. And yeah, we just concluded the 2019-20 season, one that was full of incident, a lot of drama as always, but also a pandemic that no one ever expected. We went into lockdown, we resumed football again, and we ended with Sevilla as Europa League champions again for the 6th time, as well as Bayern Munich clinching a treble and their own 6th Champions League triumph. It was great having you boys on. Ray, Jeed, as always, Siba, who's been a little shyer than usual.
I'm still here.
A pleasure. A pleasure.
That was great.
What was that? What was that, Siba?
So I'm still here.
Yeah. God forbid. But like we mentioned earlier, you can find both Ray and Jeed on social media where they post about football as well as their own personal lives. Ray is also in a band based out of Scotland, if any of you are interested in following up on them. Jeed is on Instagram at Jeed90, as well as Twitter at Jeed Says. And Ray can be found on both Instagram and Twitter at N_Ray_, and that's NEN_RAY_. And you can, of course, find the Armchair Managers podcast on Instagram at Armchair Managers, and we're also on Twitter at AC_managers. We'll be back again with more transfer news as the world of football prepares for another exciting season ahead in the next 3 weeks. Great having you guys on.
Thank you guys so much. See you next season.
Ciao.
Thank you.